All right, so we're back again. We have another video to break down. It's called Corey Kenshin Privileged Crybaby. It is by this guy named uh, Sony TM. Now, before I get into this video, I'm not here to bully or harass anyone or, play favoritism or, you know, spread racism or anything like that. This is simply me reacting and critiquing a video without being biased. Now, just some context about what this is going to be about is Corey Kenshin put out a video saying how YouTube is possibly racist or having favoritism, like either towards or against him, and that it's a major problem. And he showed some proof of that and everything. And now this guy is Sony TM is talking about that video and breaking down why he doesn't agree with it or a lot of the stuff he said. So like I'm gonna say, this isn't me trying to. I'm not here to harass. I'm here to be unbiased and give an honest critique. Because I watched this video and there were some things that I didn't agree with. Now, before we get into it, you're probably wondering why am I making this video? Well, I'm going to be completely honest. One, I like Corey Kenshin, and I feel like I've watched him long enough and seen a lot of the things he has done to put a lot of my trust that he actually is a good person and wouldn't do anything with like malice intent or whatever. And I'm willing to back him up for it. Like I said, I know Corey Kenshin doesn't like being, his fan base being toxic or anything like that. And no matter how many times he says it, it's going to happen because Corey Kenshin has so many fans. It's just impossible to like tell them all what to do. But I swear I'm not going to be one of those people. This is going to be an unbiased breakdown and critique. Another reason I'm making this is because, well, I'll admit it. I have a little bit of an ego. All right? I said it. I don't need to make this video. Corey Kenshin doesn't need me to defend him. He can defend himself. So really I'm obviously I'm doing this for Corey, but I'm mainly doing this for me, mainly. But obviously I support Corey Kenshin. And I'm not a Corey Kenshin stan, by the way. I feel like to be a stan, you have to be in like full. They have to be your favorite thing in the world, and you just have to agree with them no matter what, and this and that. Obviously, if Corey Kenshin does something wrong, then I might call him out for it, or someone else might call him out for it. But I'm not going to be like biased or anything when it comes to that. So yeah, anyway, I'm going to start this video and yeah.
YouTube. You guys either play favorites, you are racist, or it's a mix of the two.
Is this guy being for real? This guy can't be.
All right, so this is the guy, right? Sony TM. So that's him. Like I said before, don't send hate or anything. This is, at the end of the day, this is his opinion, okay? And people are allowed to have opinions, but people are also allowed to critique people. And like I'm saying right now, I can at least respect the fact that this guy is willing to be honest and give his own opinion and not blindly, go along with all the popular trends and everything. Obviously, he should know. I'm assuming he expected to get a lot of hate on this video. Speaking of which, he got 9.8k dislikes and only 1.k likes, which is not a great like to dislike ratio, but obviously this is his opinion. I just want to let everyone know that. Same with me. This is my opinion as well. All right. Anyway, continuing.
Serious, right? What's up, guys? Today I want to talk about a video that Corey Kenshin put out about a week ago. This video is talking about how YouTube has favoritism and racism in its ranks and how this is just completely just terrible for the platform, right? So instead of just taking his word for it, I listened to the video. I really listened. I used my brain, used my listening comprehension skills, right, guys? And there's a couple things I wanted to talk about because this guy is just so full of shit. He's such a big fucking crybaby that I just had to talk about this. It's literally crazy, right? So this all kicks off about a week or two ago when he put out a...
All right. First off, I'd just like to say that calling Corey Kenshin a crybaby. Well, I'll get into it because he explains why he called him a crybaby. Let me let him explain.
A video of The Mortuary Assistant, which, if you don't know, it's a horror game that has strong themes of depression and self-harm and just suicide and all this dark stuff that isn't for kids. Keep that in mind, right? So Corey Kenshin uploads this video and he gets age restricted, right? He goes and tries to appeal it and the appeal gets denied. So he's sitting there like, I got denied. So he goes and he checks everyone else, and everyone else that uploaded it doesn't have an age restriction. He goes to Markiplier's video, finds the same thing that he was age restricted for, thinks that he's age restricted for, and Markiplier's video is an age restricted. So he's like, this must be racism because Markiplier is white and I'm black.
First off, I would just like to point out that Corey Kenshin never mentioned Markiplier being white. First, he's not even white. He's Korean and German, so he's not white. Corey Kenshin said he's not black. That's all he said. And like I said, that Corey, when people make assumptions, you have to back up those assumptions. You have to show proof of why you think this assumption you're making is true. You can't just make assumptions and then not back it up with anything. But thankfully, Corey, after he does make that assumption, backs it up with something. And I'm assuming this takes like a few days to do, but he goes out of his way to do that. Anyway, he never mentioned Markiplier being white. All he said that he was not black. That's all he said. And he said as well, just to point out, Markiplier, Corey Kenshin has a lot of respect for Markiplier, and he didn't mean to drag him into this. Markiplier just happens to be a good reference point for his argument. And that's fine. He's free to do so. As long as he, executes his argument well. Anyway, moving on.
Little does he know, or probably even care, is that there's a little thing in the monetization section on YouTube when you're uploading a video. That little survey saying what is in your video that could be bad. That thing that tells you, what kind of themes are in this video? Any sexual content, any swearing, any themes of self-harm? Are there things like that in this video? And I don't know what he would have put, but you have to put, yes, there is themes of self-harm in this video. I wonder if this is ad suitable. So after saying that Markiplier's video wasn't age restricted and his was, he goes to his contact over at YouTube and he talks to me. He goes, "Hey man, Markiplier's video isn't age restricted. How come mine is?" So his contact goes to YouTube. He appeals it himself. He talks to the people over at YouTube, and lo and behold, they unage restricted. Good job. Yes, congratulations. It's over. It's done. No. Our boy Corey Kenshin here is so butthurt, so absolutely freaking mad that he goes and he puts out this email saying that this is just pure racism and this is just as fucked up and he can't stand this. He basically says, if this isn't rectified in the next couple of days, I will be putting a video out. And lo and behold, he did.
Okay, you know why he did that? Is because YouTube only unage restricted his video after he showed proof of other people not being age restricted. And those other people who weren't age restricted just so happened to be, by Corey Kenshin's words, not black. So So it's obviously, why should Corey feel like, happy about that? Obviously his video got de-age restricted, but it's the reasoning for it that's like questionable. It's like, why did he have to show proof of this other person who did the exact same thing? It's like, it literally is, it looks a lot like favoritism. Because if someone does something bad and then another person does the same thing, but only that other person gets in trouble for it, and the other person doesn't, obviously it's going to look unfair because only one of them is getting in trouble for something that, they both did the same thing. Unless they both have some two different roles to play in YouTube, but they don't. They're both, Markiplier and Corey Kenshin are both YouTubers that make consistent content about, whatever they do. And there's generally nothing wrong about it, generally. Although it is subjective. Their entertainment is subjective, but that's another point. He's pointing out the hypocrisy that YouTube commits by only punishing him and not the other person. So when he points out what looks like favoritism or racism, then their YouTube is like, oh, good. It's like a backhanded compliment, It's saying, oh, you're not as ugly as I thought you were. It's the equivalent to saying that, So it's not something. It's like donating to charity and then getting into a controversy and putting out an interview saying, why are people getting mad at me? I did this and this good thing and this, like using those donations as an argument point for why you think you're such a good person and why you're good. No, people shouldn't be above like punishment just because they did something good. Although it does depend on on how bad that, how bad that controversy surrounding them is and whether it's actually true about them. But that's a bunch of things. Anyway, yeah. So, continuing the video.
So YouTube, after seeing this, after he sends his rep this email saying that this is racist, YouTube goes back and they re-age restrict both the videos. What would you do if you're YouTube, right? You get someone that...
That's a good question. YouTube really messed up with that. Instead of age restricting both of them, they might as well have just kept both of them non-age restricted, because then that wouldn't have that just by age restricting both of those videos, that just made it worse. That's more of like spitting in the grave. That's equivalent to that, you know? So yeah, anyway.
That once the video unage restricted, you do it for them, and then they complain afterwards. There's no winning. So I don't know if he knows this. I don't know if you guys know this, but on YouTube, when you're
Okay, quick question. How would you feel if someone gave you $100,000 just for free, but then you find out that that $100,000 came from a bank that person robbed? How would you feel about having that money? Would you be thankful for the money and just ignore the thing the way they got it, or would you feel like somewhat what's the word, guilty or wrong, you know, like there's something off about this, you know, like how would you feel about getting that? It's equivalent to this whole situation with Corey Kenshin. But anyway, continuing.
Content creator, when you're on the YouTube partner program, there's this survey, and it's called the ad suitability survey. This is a brand new thing. They just put this out within the last 6 months. Keep that in mind, because Corey Kenshin just came back a couple months ago. So this ad suitability survey, it's an easier way for content creators to self-check their own videos. So let's say I have some mild swearing in my video or some inappropriate content. I can say, hey man, there's some mild swearing. There's a couple dams in this video, you know, there's some fucks. Hey, who cares, right? And they'll go, okay, thanks man. And they'll go back and they'll check it and they'll go, you were right. Thanks for doing that. And after about 20 videos or so, then they trust you and you can now prove your own videos. Great, right? That's a great system. I don't know if Corey Kenshin even fucking paid attention to that, because of course, Markiplier's video wouldn't be age restricted because he uploads daily.
Okay, so what he's getting at now is that basically he looked at that system of letting the people who watch the video and make sure it's okay to be on YouTube. Like, he's talking about the surveys. He's assuming Corey Kenshin didn't even look at that simply because he was away from YouTube for a while. Once again, you know, it's an assumption. So I'm going to let him explain more about why he thinks that. But on top of that, he's just assuming, he's also assuming Markiplier, he does the same thing as well. Just goes over the survey every time. And he probably does, but you know what? I'm just going to let him explain his assumption.
He uploads daily, so he would have that backing of the survey system, right? Makes sense. Corey Kenshin says, nah, that's racist that I got age restricted and he didn't.
No. First off, that's not how it works. And two, first off, YouTube doesn't make sense sometimes. Just like that situation with Corey about how he got age restricted, de-age restricted, and then re-age restricted. Like, that doesn't make sense. And then it ended up having Markiplier get age restricted as well. Like, that doesn't make sense. YouTube does not make sense sometimes. And sure, that survey stuff, it may make it easier for both the creators to make sure their content is safe, and also for the people, like, what the higher ups at YouTube or whoever watches the videos, easier to point out like what to look for and everything. But it's not a guarantee that their video is just going to be fine simply because they filled out this survey. It's not 100% guarantee. And I know this is an assumption that I'm making, but if you want to know what I'm basing it off of, just look at just watch Corey Kenshin's video that this guy is talking about, and just watch how like unfair it is, and how like anyway, moving on.
Even at their appeals, the appeal would see the content that got fucking restricted and go, no, this isn't going through. If anything, it would show favoritism to you if they unage restricted just because of your subscriber count. So it's only favoritism when it doesn't apply to you. Huh?
All right, first that point really didn't even like correlate with his argument. He's talking about, oh, it would be unfair if they age restricted it because of his, or the de-age restricted it because of his subscriber count, which is about 14 million, that being Corey Kenshin's subscriber count. Like, yeah, it would, but what does this have to do with what we're talking about, what you're talking about, what you brought up? It sort of just sounded like you brought it up out of nowhere, you know? Anyway.
So Corey Kenshin goes on and talks about how this is so fucked up and how this is really...
By the way, if I'm wrong about anything, feel free to, or if you feel like I'm wrong about anything, feel free to like to leave a comment about it. Because, you know, trust me, I read comments.
Bad for YouTube, and how this is just complete and utter racism and favoritism, and how the man keeps putting him down every time he comes back to YouTube. And he's like, every time I come back to YouTube, they always take me down. I get #1 trending for 3 days straight, and then they take me down for an old video leading a community guideline strike. Pause. Now, you see that? You see that? He said he got a community guideline strike. And he showed a video where he talked about that said community guideline strike. Now, I got a little bit curious. I was like, community guideline strike. That's not just a copyright. That's a breaking of one of YouTube's rules. Now, I wonder what rule he broke. And if you go to that video, and that video's still up on his channel where he talks about this copyright strike, you go to that video, you want to know what the community guideline strike that he got was for? Child safety. Child endangerment. And I looked up the video, and you'll find this very interesting. I looked up that video, and it was a Try Not to Laugh Part 8. Right? You want to know what the clip was? I watched that video. There's a literal clip of a kid falling from a balcony and breaking his legs, or looks like he breaks his legs. And he laughs at it. He laughs at it. He goes, damn, that kid's fucking dead. I can run the clip. Here, I'll run it right here. Quick note, there's actually 2 clips from that video that count as child endangerment. There's one where the kid jumps off the balcony, and there's another one where the kid gets blown up by a firecracker, and that's the clip that where he laughs at, where he says, that kid's dead. So, sorry about that.
That kid's dead. You're going to have to run.
Now what?
Before I go on, humor is subjective, and if you want to call those things, those clips, like child endangerment or whatever, that's fair, okay? That's fair. I'm not arguing against that. Like, but the problem isn't what he's getting taken down for. It's, and Corey mentions this in his video, it's always been whenever he's gotten when he starts uploading again, and when he gets trending #1 on YouTube. It's always then. If it's such a problem, if it has child endangerment, why didn't you give it a community guideline strike when it came out? Why did it take this long? And that's the thing that this guy doesn't seem to understand. I'm not calling this guy stupid or anything. Like, he knows, like, he has his own opinion. He's very honest. He knows, like, he has a point and he's, like, sticking to it. I just think I just don't think he fully understands. The problem, Corey wasn't complaining about what he was taken down, what the video got a community guideline strike for. He was complaining on why it took this long for them to decide that. Why they conveniently took it down once he started getting #1 on the trending page. He's pointing out some contradictions in YouTube's algorithm that just doesn't make sense. That's literally all he's doing. He's pointing out, he's basically telling YouTube, well, if this is a problem, why did you wait till now to solve it? That's what he was doing. That's what Corey was doing. And that's what this guy doesn't seem to understand, as far as I can tell. But anyway, we're continuing.
I want you to think with your head. Guy comes back to YouTube, gets trending 3 days in a row. Imagine I'm a random guy. Oh, this guy's funny. I'm going to look at his videos. Start binging his videos. Just binge all the videos that you think are funny. You find that one specific video. And it's so much from 2019, but you find that one specific video. It's in the recommended. It's on the sidebar, right? You click it, or auto plays next. And you watch that. You see that kid falling, hurting himself. Would you not report the video? If you think that kid was hurt in some way, he's laughing at it, would you not report that video? Does that not seem like a plausible explanation of why you got a community guideline strike for child danger? But no, Corey is the type of guy that goes, I just came back and I was gone for 9 months and they could have gave me a suspension. They could have gave me a community guideline strike for 9 months out of the time I was gone. They only did it when I came back. Dude, are you that fucking dense?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. That is exactly what happened, and it doesn't make sense. I literally just explained this, but it doesn't make sense for YouTube to do that. And I don't know what this guy is like. I don't know what what are you complaining about? Well, obviously, and I never saw a part where Corey Kenshin was saying why is this video, this shouldn't be getting taken down. He's complaining on why it was only taken down when he was started to get trending on YouTube. That's what he's complaining about. Not the fact that it's getting a strike. It's when he gets it, not why he gets it. That's to put it simply. But like I said, this guy doesn't seem to understand that.
Are you that stupid that you don't see that there might be a correlation between you coming back and you getting the guideline strike other than YouTube taking you down? You are a 14 million subscriber channel crying that YouTube is trying to suppress you. Do you know how stupid you sound? Do you know how absolutely retarded you sound when you say that on your pedestal of 14 million subscribers?
First off, just keep in mind that, he's calling Corey Kenshin all these names, stupid, retarded, all that. And also, another thing, do not call Corey Kenshin, alright, you can have your own opinion about something, but to call Corey Kenshin, privileged or a crybaby because he has 14 million is kind of dumb, in my opinion. And the reason I say that is because Corey Kenshin, it took him, and I looked on his page, it was over 10 years, right? He's been on YouTube for probably 13 years. 13 years he's been on YouTube. Probably longer. Maybe he deleted some older videos and stuff. But that's a long time. And he didn't all of a sudden get 14 million. It took him 13 years to get that amount of subscribers. He started at the bottom where everyone else was. He had to work his ass off and to do so many and make so many great videos to get where he is. So to call him privileged is not fair. And also, if you ever get 14 million or more and you're complaining about your channel getting age restricted or something like that, something similar to what's happening with Corey Kenshin, by your own logic, you shouldn't be complaining. By your logic. Because then you would look like a hypocrite. So stop bringing up Corey Kenshin's subscriber count, because he started at the bottom where you are right now. And that's not to be I'm not trying to I'm not by the bottom. I don't mean all your content's trash. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you have about 3,000 subscribers. He started about where you are about that long ago, 13 years ago. And obviously he had to build that up. So it's once again, it took 13 years for him to get or maybe 12, but still over a decade to get 14 million subscribers. So yeah, just don't call him privileged, because to me it just doesn't make sense. Anyway, continue.
Or your video where you talk about how YouTube's fucking you over got 7 million views and was #1 trending. Do you not see the irony? Do you not see the absolute fucking flaw in your argument? Are you serious? So Corey Kenshin, I don't know what to tell you. So you cried about getting age restricted, then cried when you got unage restricted, and then you cried when you got re-age restricted because of your fucking complaint. What do you want?
Yeah, it's because it doesn't make sense. He's complaining because that turn of events just did not make sense, and YouTube was acting up. That's why he did it. That's why he's complaining. And he has the right to complain. He has the right to. So let him complain. Plus, you bring up in another video how this is my opinion. People are allowed to have their opinions. I'm allowed to have mine. I don't know why you're hating me for having an opinion. This is Corey Kenshin's opinion as well. So, yeah, just saying. I'm not saying you have to agree with it. I'm just letting you know. Anyway.
You know the best part about that whole situation with that video is that to this day, and this is crazy, Markiplier's video is age restricted, but not Corey Kenshin's.
All that, if that is true, then that's messed up. But all that does is prove what Corey was saying, that YouTube has problems. It doesn't make sense. And obviously Corey, if he wanted to, he could go over it. But he doesn't need to. He already called out YouTube for making a mistake. All he would be doing is doubling down what he already talked about. YouTube sometimes just doesn't make sense, and he called them out for it. Making another video would just be, in a way, repetitive. Unless he just made that video completely differently and creatively and stuff. But that's a whole nother aspect. Corey called out YouTube for not making sense at the time. And if what you're saying is true, which I believe it, that would only prove his argument to be more right than it was. So yeah.
Isn't that fucked up? The same guy who said there's favoritism in YouTube, there's racism and favoritism. His video is not age restricted anymore, but Markiplier's is. Isn't that the definition of fucking favoritism. Isn't that absolutely fucking crazy that his video isn't age restricted anymore, but Markiplier's is? Oh, it's not favoritism when it benefits me.
First off, Corey Kenshin isn't like, he wasn't speaking for himself. He was pointing out the contradictions in YouTube. It started out as possible racism or favoritism. If you want to say, oh, favoritism isn't the right term to use, sure, you could say that, and I could agree with you in some way. But Corey Kenshin, at the end of the day, whether you think he was calling out YouTube for being racist or having favoritism or something else, no matter which one of those he is implying, at the end of the day, he's implying that YouTube has problems, and all that does is prove how YouTube is even more problematic in some ways than we think. YouTube just doesn't make sense sometimes, and it's messed up. So yeah. And no, Corey doesn't need to cover that because, like I said, it would be repetitive. Anyway, continuing.
But when it benefits someone else that's not me, and they just so happen to be a different skin color, that's fucked up, man. That's messed up. The worst part, Markiplier's not even fucking white. He's like German Korean mix. But that doesn't matter. Your skin tone's white. Your skin tone's a paler color than mine, so it doesn't matter.
Like I said before, Corey never said anything about Markiplier being white. He said not black. That could be anyone that's like white, Asian, Hispanic, whatever. It may not even have to be with race. Like he said, it could be favoritism. It could be someone with more subscribers, which Markiplier does have. So that would also make sense. Maybe it's not a race thing. Maybe it's just a favoritism thing. But that's how it looks when Corey presented it, and it made sense in his video. Anyway, continuing.
I've never had a problem with YouTube taking me down. And you know who else hasn't had a problem? I don't know, one of the biggest creators in the UK, KSI or Deji. You don't see them complaining about YouTube being racist. They're literally the very top of the UK. But you do not see them complaining. You don't see any other black creators complaining about racism on the platform.
First off, a lot of black creators, a lot of them complain about having racism on the platform. Like, I can't name any examples off the top of my head, but if you look up, like, YouTube has a problem or something like that, I guarantee a lot of other black creators other than Corey Kenshin will show up. And also, the thing about you, Sehon, what did you say?
I don't know, one of the biggest creators in the UK.
Oh yeah, KSI and Deji. First off, I can't really speak for Deji. I don't pay attention to his analytics like that. But KSI has said it multiple times. Like, oh, you don't see KSI complaining. He does. Not like, he doesn't make full-on videos about it. Like, he'll mention it like once or twice in like a Reddit video once in a while. But he's accepted it. And I'm not saying he's right or wrong for doing that. That's his choice. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But yeah, KSI is pretty much at the top of the UK right now. And he is trending and everything. And he's getting a lot of sponsors and everything and a lot of money, etc. You know, his second channel, his reaction channel where he reacts to Reddit and Try Not to Laughs and all that, all those videos were not making any money. He said he was making those videos simply because he wanted to. He did it because they were fun to make. And sure, it's not the worst situation for him because he's still making money from a lot of other places. But like, what if someone else had that problem? Like, that is a problem if someone's channel, they're just not making money off of any videos. But luckily, it was in KSI's place, So, like, it's not a problem for KSI because, he has other means of getting money. But it's a problem in general because that could happen to someone else. And thankfully, I just want to mention KSI's videos are making money now because he mentioned how after a day in like September, he would start making money again. And that's amazing. So I just wanted to point that out. But the fact that you said, hold on.
But you do not see them complaining. You don't see any other black creators complaining about racism on the platform.
The fact that you say black, you don't see any black creators complaining about racism on the platform is just wrong. That's wrong. Just look up a video of someone, just look up YouTube problems or racism or something that involves a black YouTuber and you'll find something. I guarantee it. Anyway.
Any top creators. But when Corey Kenshin comes out, all of a sudden, everyone's coming out the woodworks. Jacksepticeye, Markiplier, Ludwig. Come on, man. You got to think harder than that. You can't just blindly follow a black person because they said they got wrong. There's always another explanation. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Now, obviously, he could easily accuse me of this, but I'm going to defend myself and say, I'm not following Corey Kenshin simply because he's black. I follow him because I believe that he's a nice person. He does a lot of nice things, and he's a very positive and uplifting YouTuber and individual. Yeah, I've never met him before, but I'm confident and I believe that he is a good person. I feel like, yeah, it's an assumption. But if you look at a lot of the things he's done and a lot of the people that say he's a nice person, that's more proof that's being given to me that he could very well be a nice person. Now, obviously, someone maybe he's not for some reason or another. Like, for the longest time, I've been a fan of, and this is a bit off topic, I've been a fan of Skyda's Minecraft for a really long time. He's the person who inspired me to do YouTube. But then later we found out that he's a piece of shit, and he does so many terrible things to his girlfriend. And yeah, I thought he was a great person and a great YouTuber and this and that. And then I found out that stuff. So the same, a similar thing could happen with Corey Kenshin where something comes out and he's not like a good person. But until something does, I'm just going to assume that he's a nice person. That's me. So, yeah, I hope you're not accusing everyone about that. There are definitely some people that are ignorant like that, and they would just believe someone simply because they're black and they call themselves woke and whatever. But I promise you I'm not like that. And the fact that I have to say it is really stupid, but whatever. Anyway. Which means I'm not going to say it again. Anyway.
You can call me an Uncle Tom all you want, but at the end of the day, there's always an explanation for these things. YouTube isn't out to get you. You are a 14 million subscriber channel.
Yeah, he's not. They're not out to get him. They gave him a community guide strike right as he came back after 9 months, and all of a sudden he gets a community guideline strike. And then after that, he comes back again and one of his videos get age restricted. But that's when he comes back, right? Like, I'm just saying, a lot of that, it looks like they're targeting him. It really does look like that. And sure, you can call it something else, but personally, I do think that's what it is. And Corey Kenshin has done a good job of proving or showing that that's probably what it is. So, yeah, and once again, bringing up the subscriber count. Like I said, he had to work for it like any other YouTuber, and it took him over a decade to get to that point, to get to 14 million. So, yeah, he's not some privileged person that started at the top. He had to work to get to where he was. Anyway,
Grow up. Literally, just grow up. I don't know what else to say, man. You're just crying. You're literally fucking crying about nothing. Corey even complained when...
It's not nothing, because this could also apply to other people. This could literally happen to anyone. Considering how YouTube just doesn't make sense sometimes, this could happen to anyone, and it may not even be someone that happens to be black. So, yeah. So yeah, this is a problem. It is definitely a problem, and this isn't the first time that it's happening. This has been happening in different ways to different people, but it happens quite often.
And he uploaded the call-out video saying that it got ad suitability limited when he uploaded it. And I know exactly the reason why he got limited on the ads. It's because you put racism in the title. I put a video out a couple days ago. By the way, you should watch this.
Sure. This is the point I'll agree with. That, yeah, YouTube is stingy like that, where if you put out a video and it has a certain word or something in the title, then it could affect it could affect how many ads you get on your video, etc. So, yeah, I would be down to agree with this point, that putting racism in the title may be the problem with getting limited ads. So yeah, good job.
This is a really good video. It's a little funny video in VR chat. I put a video out, and I had the title be called "VR Chat is Racist." And lo and behold, when I put the title of that, it got ad suitability. But then, you know what you do? You appeal it. And they say, okay, that's fine. I got my video fucking full on ads now. Full ads. All you have to do is appeal it. But he's too much of a fucking prick and too much of his high horse to fucking even do that. So
he did appeal. He appealed. Okay, it got the video that Corey was talking about in his video was the mortuary assistant. It got age restricted. Corey appealed. Then they doubled down and said that they're still going to keep it age restricted. Then he did some research, looked up Markiplier's video and other people on how they have the same content as Corey's video, but they're not age restricted. Then they de-age restricted Corey's video. And then after Corey complained and called YouTube out for their hypocrisy, they age restricted Corey's video and Markiplier's video for being basically spitting in their graves. Basically, that's essentially, or spitting in their face rather, because Corey Kenshin's channel is not dead. But yeah, so don't say how he didn't appeal. He did appeal. That is just, you're either lying or you are just not like informed enough. Plus, you literally said before in the video how you were explaining how he appealed, and you were literally explaining the situation, mentioning how he appealed for it. So why are you now saying that he didn't even appeal for it? Which is not true. He did appeal for it. Like, this is one of the worst points you brought up. Anyway.
Gonna use every excuse he can.
And this isn't even an opinionated thing. This is just straight up facts. He did appeal for it, and it didn't work. He did appeal. It's factually true that he appealed for it. You're either lying or misguided. But everything else is opinionated until this point. But, yeah.
To make YouTube look like the fucking bad guy. One last thing I want to talk about is that Corey Kenshin tries to call out YouTube for fake caring about black people and having a black people highlight, but not really giving a shit about them, right? What do you mean? There are millions of videos uploaded to YouTube every day, thousands a second, and you think that everyone on the trending spot is going to be a black person or a person of color? So when YouTube puts a spotlight on minority.
When did he say that? When did he say, "Oh, everyone should be black," or "Everyone's gonna be black"? Or when did he say that? Seriously, put out something, put out a clip of him saying that, because he did not.
Black person or a person of color. So when YouTube puts a spotlight on minorities such as black people, trans people, gay people, any people of color, anyone on the fucking spectrum of creators that are out there, you have a problem with that? So what? What does that mean? At what point are you happy? Are you satisfied? YouTube does everything they can to cater to all sorts of different diverse groups. Because you're too much of a fucking prick. You think that it's all in the guise of being fake nice and that they're really racist and they wear their Ku Klux Klan hoods on the inside and that they do all this just for a facade. I don't get it, man. You came back to YouTube after.
First off, you're heavily misguided, because YouTube, if you think YouTube cares about minorities or trans people or etc., then yeah, that's not. It's just, why do you think they only put up the pride flag on their the front page of YouTube or whatever, only for a certain amount of time, whenever it's Pride Month? Why do you think they take it down after that? Like, you think they really do? You think they really care? And you look up Diesel Patches and look up a video about. Just look up a Diesel Patches video talking about YouTube, and you should find a video of him talking about how they misrepresent trans people. You should find it. I'll leave a link to it in the description or whatever. So, yeah. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to pull it up. Yeah, I'm going to pull it up. Diesel Patches. So here he is, Diesel. I'm just going to assume most popular. This one. Look up this video. Why I don't like Susan Wojcicki or Wabajak. And you'll find the point of them talking about trans people somewhere in this video. Like around here ish. Towards like the last third of the video. So yeah. Why I don't like Susan Wabajak. Look up that video. And I'll leave it in the description, like I said. Also, ignore all my 40-something tabs open. All right, continuing.
After not uploading for months and you got #1 trending, and you're still complaining? Hello? I don't get it, man. I just don't get it. So what else can I say other than just suck it up, man? Corey Kenshin, if you ever watch this video, I just want you to fucking self-reflect for 1 second of your life and think about it. Am I being wrong because of my skin color? Or is it maybe something else other than just being black as your fucking default? Hope you guys enjoyed this video.
Another thing I want to mention, if YouTube does such a good job at representing black people, for example, why do they never have very prominent black creators such as Abba and Preach? They get a lot of views every time they upload. They talk about a lot of stuff. They're unbiased, and they have a lot of they have 1.77 million subscribers. A lot more subscribers than some of the people that YouTube puts on the black, whatever they call it, black excellence. I don't know, fucking. So it's like, why do they never go up there? It's because Abba and Preach has put out videos of them like calling out YouTube, and they put out videos where their morals and their political views don't match theirs. So of course it's not about black people. They only represent people that match their political views. And if they just so happen to be a certain color or have a certain pronoun, then that's just going to be a bonus. But they only represent them a certain time of the month, like Black History Month or Pride Month. That's why they take down the flags of the gay people during Pride Month. Or that's why they only represent black people during like a certain month, which is Black History Month. So no, they if you think YouTube actually cares, I'm talking about the higher ups of YouTube, the ones that really run the site, not the people that work for them, like the people that assist the YouTubers or anything like that. Like, YouTube runs with an agenda, and everyone does, but YouTube's agenda is, in my opinion, very messed up in a lot of ways. That's all I wanted to mention.
Video. And if you did, hit that subscribe button, like the video, put that bell on, and join my Discord.
All right, that's pretty much it. It goes on for like a few more seconds, but it doesn't really talk about anything. I want to quickly go over this video as well. Corey Kenshin's hypocritical fan base. Now, this video isn't as in my opinion, as confusing as this one, but it's still not like, there are still some things that I don't agree with. So here we go.
I didn't watch the video. I don't know what you're talking about. They just told me to do a raid inside of a server. They invited me to the group chat and they told me to swim.
Do you think Corey would be happy with you that you're coming into my server and spamming and saying all this stuff under the guise of?
I agree. He knows that Corey wouldn't want to have like his fan base act all toxic like they are right now.
I just had the weirdest dream. There was all these 12-year-olds, and they were screaming at me because I made a video about my own opinion. Wait a minute. Oh no! What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today, I want to go through the comments of my last video and just talk about how absolutely ridiculous the response has been. Now, I'm no stranger to critique. That's basically all I do on this channel. My top 5 videos are basically all just commentary videos or video essays about stuff I don't like. But this last video takes the cake for the worst responses I've ever had.
I just want to say, like, I didn't like, these are the only 2 videos I've seen of this guy, Sony TM, but maybe he has some other videos that are really good, so I'm not gonna just assume this guy is absolute trash and he never does anything good. Like, maybe he does actually have some really good videos. It just so happens to be that the Corey Kenshin video of him talking about Corey Kenshin is the one that got recommended to me, and that's how I found out about this guy. So it's like, it's not a good first impression, but maybe he does have some really good videos, but I wouldn't know because I didn't see him. So yeah. Anyway, continuing.
Talk about not being able to have a differing opinion to the masses. Like, by God, have I had a big response to this. Well, before we get into reading those comments, I want you guys to subscribe and hit that bell notification. And make sure you join the Discord at discord.gg/Sunny. I want to go through and read comments today and just show you how absolutely idiotic and racist the Corey Kenshin fandom has been to me. From calling me slurs to just straight up insulting me because I didn't agree with him. This is just unacceptable. So without further ado,
obviously he's being a little sarcastic. Let's go.
Let's get into reading these comments and just see how absolutely insane these kids really are. Buddy, you're melting into your own couch. Please don't bother talking. You know what? You're right. I was melting into my couch.
I will say this. I wouldn't even read those immature comments because it really doesn't do anything to prove your point. All it does is make you look like you're trying to avoid the questions or the comments that are more critical of you, you know? It's like, just cover the ones that actually could, like, the ones that actually bring up good points. And sure, you know, what may be a good point to someone else may not be a good point to you, but still, you know what I'm saying. I wouldn't even give those people the attention because that's what they're looking for. But anyway, and no, he's this guy Sony at TM. He doesn't ignore the comments that go more in depth, and you'll see later in the video. Anyway,
I'm gonna mount into my nice comfortable bed. He's a crybaby because he addressed an issue people wear too scarred to talk about, and now that Corey posted it, everyone still is posting their complaints with the app, but he's a crybaby. First off, you need to check your grammar. My God, that was terrible. And second off, how am I not allowed to talk about it? Isn't that a little silly? Are you saying that I can't ever talk about anything else that's going on if it doesn't relate to me in the world? It's a little silly. It's crazy how he has...
I agree. He's allowed to talk about Corey Kenshin, even if he says some things I don't agree with. I'm not gonna say like, oh, you take this video down, and like, no, that's unfair, because then I would have to take this video down as well that I'm making right now. Anyway. It'd be hypocritical of me. And it'd also be hypocritical of like Corey Kenshin. And anyway,
you're saying that stuff over a video and not to him himself. You want to go to his house? I don't know where he lives. Why, instead of calling him a crap?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with making the video.
I mean, maybe you should do a background check and get valid info on the situation instead of assuming he's not grateful. Vids like this always take a turn and don't catch the right audience, only because y'all don't bring valid points and completely feel butthurt that Corey has his own opinion in situations toward YouTube. Grow the fuck up. I am not valuing Corey's own opinion. Isn't that what you're doing right now? By you telling me to grow up and to watch the video and saying that I didn't watch it all the way through is the same type of hypocrisy you guys are doing to me. Because you guys didn't watch my video all the way through. You're not giving me the benefit of the doubt to have my own opinion.
Yeah, he's right that these people in the comments are being weird. Although you shouldn't just assume everyone didn't watch your whole video, but everything else you said was right.
Advertising me about it. So how is this any different than what supposedly I'm doing to Corey? It's not. You guys you're just hypocrites. It's always the fat, no life, I procrastinate on my couch all day, people that have something negative to say about Corey. Lol. So you're saying that because I'm fat, I can't have an opinion? Again, this all just goes back to being that because I'm either smaller, fatter, or black, I can't have an opinion about something on the internet. Kind of racist and fucked up to me, isn't it? Ooh, here's a doozy. guys, get ready. Did you not watch the whole video or skip through some of it? Because he goes through and looks at every other YouTuber that uploaded it, and he's the only one that got age restricted. That's why he got pissed off. And it was after he got...
I'm just going to skip a few seconds because this takes a little while. Look at this comment. This comment is crazy.
People who actually watched the video sentence. If I was your English teacher, I would be rating this D. To go through and read this is clearly just someone that's so delusional that they are going to agree with Corey Kenshin to a fault and not even let me have the time of day to argue my own points. To say that Corey Kenshin has this big problem with YouTube and saying that this happens all the time, you have no evidence of that. The only evidence that you do have is debunkable, which I did in my last video. The community guideline strike video where he got a community guideline strike and he doesn't know why. That video had child endangerment in it. And it's provable. You can see it in the video.
Yeah, it does. But the point that Corey was talking about, it wasn't the fact that it wasn't the fact that he got copyright striked. It was when he got it. He's questioning why it took so long for them to decide this, instead of them making that decision right then and there. Like, he's saying, why did it take about 9 months to do it? That's really the problem that Corey was bringing up. You're completely misinterpreting it again. But I already mentioned this previously, so yeah.
Right? So of course that's going to get taken down. I gave a plausible explanation. I said that maybe after he got trending, someone's watching his videos, binging them because they liked his content, found that video coincidentally, and didn't like that there was a kid getting blown up by a firecracker. It's not that hard of an explanation to come across. But Corey Kenshin is such a privileged crybaby that he would rather say that people were trying to take him down than to think, well, maybe I made a mistake. You know, people that blame others for their own actions are the worst type of person because they'll never learn from their mistakes. They continue to make them over and over and over again and never try to grow from them. But you got...
Once again, misinterpreting it, and once again, calling him privileged is just... Like, you're seeing, like... I already mentioned this previously. Like, Corey had to work for everything he's got now. He started at the bottom, and now he's at the top. It's literally Drake. Started from the bottom, now we here. Literally that. So yeah, so don't call him privileged. He's someone who I believe works hard and has earned everything he's gotten. Whatever.
Guys, you guys should have the brain capacity in this community to see through and use your own critical thinking skills to understand situations, not just from face value of what he tells you, but instead, you would just rather go along with it because you feel like a bigger part of the community. You feel like you're fighting for some just cause, which it isn't. You're fighting for a privileged crybaby who got his video age restricted because it had some sexual content in it. Don't you feel a little bit silly when you think about it like that? That you're just a pawn for a big crybaby? Ooh, this is a good one. Fallen Samurai.
First off, a pawn for a crybaby. That makes no sense. One, because Corey, in my opinion, isn't a crybaby, but that's an opinion. Corey has said multiple times that he doesn't want his fan base to go out and defend him or be toxic or send hate to people that disagree with him and this and that. He literally tries his best to not make his fan base some people to use as like an army. Like he's disappointed by it. It's like he doesn't try to arm his fan base to be toxic people on the internet and just send hate everywhere. Like he's against that. So you calling them a pawn is just, it's not, they're, if anything, those toxic people who are fans of Corey, they're more like rebels going against what Corey was saying by doing something that Corey doesn't want them to do. Even though they have the intentions of defending Corey, but the way they're doing it is not cool. So literally they're not his pawns. They're rebels that do whatever they want and they think they're right just because they're defending someone they like. So they're delusional, but they're not pawns. Anyway,
YouTubers and people in general.
because if they were pawns, then it would be Corey telling them to be toxic and send hate to people. But Corey's not telling them to do that. Anyway.
Are always nitpicking with Corey. They love finding the smallest reason to try and bash him. Corey has never been a problematic YouTuber and has always been a genuine person and done kind things for others. People will always find ways to turn something good into something negative. Corey literally did a water charity stream and was online for 5 hours. Wow. 5 whole hours, dude. I could never do that. Don't talk about all the times I've done 24, 48, or even 72-hour streams on my channel. Don't worry about that. By the way, you should follow me. Twitch.tv/SunnyTM. It's a good chance I'm live right after uploading this video. This is...
First off, so instead of reading the rest of the comment, he downplays him by saying, oh, he only went 5 hours. I've done like 24, 48, 72, whatever. It's like, okay, but did you rate, but like, why are you streaming? Corey was streaming for a charity to raise money. And if you look at the comments, he raised over 300,000 to help give away water to people in need. So what are you streaming for? You bring up your thing, right?
It's a good chance I'm live right after.
I'm assuming this is on Twitch. Yeah. So, yeah, it's on Twitch. So, it doesn't matter how long you stream for. It matters what you're doing while you're streaming. It's like that. This argument is it's dumb in my opinion. It just doesn't, like, why does it mean like what, are you jealous? It makes you sound jealous when you're complaining about him streaming less but receiving more like attention and stuff. Like, it makes you look jealous. Oh, I've streamed longer or whatever. Okay, but Corey streamed over 5 hours and raised over 300K for charity. Like, have you ever streamed for charity? I'm just asking. Just asking. I'm not trying to downplay you by saying, like, oh, your streams are garbage in comparison just because you haven't streamed and made over 300,000 like Corey did. I'm not saying that. But don't downplay Corey just because he doesn't stream as long as you. Anyway, it's whatever. But like I guess it's your opinion that you think you're better because you stream longer. I guess it's your opinion. So, moving on.
Uploading this video. This just goes back to the believing Corey unfalteringly. When you put your full faith in the creator because they look at you in your eyes in the video and say that they were wrong, and they say they look sincere, you don't have to just take that for face value. You can still like a creator and not agree with them wholeheartedly on every point, right? The world's just not that cut and dry where it's either a yes or a no. There's maybes, there's concessions. You can have different opinions from people, guys.
I agree. That's exactly right. And I'm glad he's able to showcase that, that he's able to have his own opinion and be honest. That I can commend this guy for that.
Person a parasocial leech. And if you guys don't know what a parasocial leech is, let me tell you. To be a parasocial leech, you have to be a person that talks so highly of a creator that you like that it seems like you're talking about a friend. You delude yourself into thinking that maybe this person would actually know or be friends with me if they knew who I was. And you have these delusions of grandeur that if you ever met them, that you would be best friends and that, it would be so fine and peachy. But the thing is, guys, you're just a number. Statistically, you're just a number. When a creator like Corey Kenshin, who has 14 million fans around the world, you are unironically a speck, a tiny speckle in the fine sands of his hourglass on YouTube. I don't say this to be mean. It's just a reality check. You guys have to understand that he will never care about you and he will never know who you are. So for you to...
He may not know all of his fans personally or anything, but I'm willing to bet, based off of everything Corey has done, like he wouldn't edit a over 2 hour video that took him like over 9 hours to edit or render or whatever, just to just because what I'm trying to say is I think he definitely cares about his fans. And sure, you can argue against that, but I just think there's a lot of proof in the pudding of the fact that he actually does care about his fans. He says it a lot that he says a lot that he's grateful and everything. And sure, words are words, but like Corey has done some great things on YouTube. He's done just go watch a few of his videos and just look at the effort he puts in. And Corey edits his own videos. That just goes another. And also he bleeps out cursing and everything. So he clearly does care about his fans. But you know what? That at the end of the day, that's my opinion and a lot of other people's opinions. And sure, just because most people think that doesn't make it right. The many don't outweigh the needs of the few. But I will say there's a lot of proof that could show that he does care about his fans. But you'll just have to find out yourselves by going to Corey Kenshin's channel and watching some of his videos. Anyway.
Go out and do these things and harass creators such as me or go on these campaigns on his behalf. He won't find this good. You're doing more harm than anything.
Yeah, I agree, and so would Corey. He said it multiple times that he doesn't, and I said this before, I brought it up before. Corey doesn't like it when his fans are acting toxic and sending hate and death threats and all that. It's like Corey knows, those toxic fans are doing a disservice to him and to the whole fan base and really to YouTube, So yeah, Corey's aware of this.
People call me the hard R because of my video, because I had an opinion. I've had people harass me on my Discord, as you saw in the beginning of the video. So why do you guys justify his behavior because I didn't agree with him that he had a racism problem? So to solve me not thinking that he had a racism problem in YouTube, you guys show me that he does have a racism problem, but in his community. I've had the most vile, disgusting things said to me in the last couple of days just because I had a differing opinion than a top creator. And I'm disappointed. Corey Kenshin clearly is a family-friendly community. He doesn't curse, doesn't swear, doesn't do a lot of the things that a lot of other YouTubers do, but apparently his fan base does. I've been called fat.
I agree. It is a problem, but it's not Corey Kenshin's fault. I just want this guy to know that it's not Corey's fault. It's the people, it's the toxic stands that go out of their way to send hate and death threats and etc. to other people that may or may not disagree with them on certain things. So yeah, it's not Corey's fault. It's their fault for being the way they are. And that's inevitable though. That's everyone's fan base. Everyone's going to have people like that. Once I'm popular enough, hopefully I eventually become super popular. I know there's going to be people that, you know, will just become stands of me and they just agree with everything I say. Like, yeah. And I know I sound like arrogant or whatever, narcissistic when I say that, but if I do ever become that popular, I know that's going to happen. So yeah, just don't hold Corey Kenshin accountable because he clearly it's not what he wants, and he tries his best to not have it be that way. Like even Nikocado Avocado, however you say his name, he even knows about the time when Nikocado called out Corey for something, and everyone was getting on Nikocado's head for saying what he said, and Corey he didn't respond to Nikocado by like making an exposed video or anything like that. He spoke to his fans and said, "Why are you saying the things that you're saying? Just leave it be." You know? That's literally all he said. Anyway, continuing.
Called, I've been called anything under the sun in these last couple days just because I said that he didn't have a racism problem. And I just think that's kind of ironic. So black critters are fighting each other after Corey exposed YouTube. YouTube targets Corey because he's Christian, not because he's black. YouTube actively promotes black/Jewish YouTubers over white YouTubers. Another crazy notion that YouTube has favorites because of your ethnicity or your religion, which you sound a little bit conspiratorial, don't you?
Like I brought up before, I think there are a lot of things that can possibly prove that to be true. Like I said, it could be a conspiracy, but there are a lot of things that could make it be true in the eyes of certain people. So yeah, I think it's true though that YouTube has an agenda and a bias towards certain individuals, especially with their political views and their skin color and their pronouns and etc. But I mean, what do I know? I'm just a random person who wants to be a bigger YouTuber. So yeah.
Got a little cuckoo in the head. Here's one of my favorite comments, though. This is one of my favorites. I try not to say anything, but I just have to now. One, this is just sad. How you're a man of color and you can't even support another man of color at all. That's just sad. Two, most of you leafiest here knockoff channels don't even have to do any amount of editing and it takes to upload a video because all you're doing is using some basic ass gameplay that doesn't involve a lot of brain power to play and turn your mic on or your green screen and just start recording. But I have to admit, you got a lot of balls to get on your camera and let thousands of people see how you're melting into your chair, Lamau. Hey, I just found what makes your channel different from the leafiest hair clones, Lamau. Anyway, I'm not going to go on you because I really could, but I'm not. First off,
that I know he's gonna better like say something about this girl, black hippie girl, whatever. But yeah, she said a lot of dumb stuff. There was like no correlation. She was just saying stuff. At the end, she said, "I could go in, but I'm not gonna," even though she already like talked about him being fat and stuff, and like yeah, it just yeah, she's so yeah. She made no sense.
Pretty sure you did go on, you black hippie girl. And second off,
yeah, exactly.
What you described as what I did for my last video is the exact same thing Corey Kenshin does for every one of his videos that he uploads. So how is it any different from when I do it than when he does it? Is it because you don't like me because I deferred from his opinion? Or is it because I'm a Leafiest Here clone, which makes no sense because I don't do Leafiest Here content? Just because I had a negative opinion of someone doesn't mean I'm a basher that all I do is just make fun of people. In no way did I make fun of Corey Kenshin in that last video. I call him a privileged crybaby, but I feel like that's warranted. Where did I insult him? When did I call him the N-word? When did I call him fat? When did I call him anything other than a privileged crybaby and state facts on why I thought so?
You also called him a prick. You called him stupid. You called him retarded. You called him dumb. You called him dense. And you can rewatch the video. To anyone who sees this, you can rewatch the video to know that's true. So, yeah, you didn't just call him privileged and a crybaby. So, yeah.
Corey works for 4 to 5 months out of the year, makes millions of dollars, and complains about having a video, one singular video, age restricted. How's that any different than, maybe some fucking billionaire like Jeff Bezos crying about one of his mansions getting taxed more? It's not. Again, this is the parasocial dynamic where people think that just because he's smiling at you and having fun on the camera and that you see that you're some sort of friend, your buddy. You guys got to grow up. I don't know.
I just want to point out, just because, yeah, obviously Corey Kenshin has a lot of money and this and that, and he gets a lot of love from a lot of people, but that doesn't take away his right to complain about something. Just because he's more, as you say, privileged, even if he is more privileged, like that doesn't mean he's not allowed to complain about something that seems minuscule to you, but like it just, that's unfair. Like Corey Kenshin is allowed to complain about something. And plus, you were literally saying before, talking about yourself, I'm just expressing my opinion. What do you think Corey is doing? He's doing the same thing. So, like, why are you complaining about Corey doing that? So, yeah, you're complaining about getting hate and dealing with these toxic, fans and everything, which you are allowed to do. But then you were complaining about Corey, complaining about YouTube and how YouTube has been like doing him wrong recently. So, like, what's going on? Anyway, yeah, continuing.
I'll tell you, you're defending Corey by inadvertently making fun of him. Does not seem a little bit silly? You're saying that all I do is just record and look at the camera and put my green screen on. But isn't that the same that Corey does? Start playing a game that takes little to no effort, turn his camera on, smile and wave, and upload it, or doesn't even edit it himself. I edit all my videos myself. Don't see me complaining. Corey probably has editors.
Alright, he doesn't have editors. So, I mean, yeah, sure, you could say he's lying, but I doubt you'd have anything to prove that. And plus, like, it's like, whatever, I already mentioned it.
So, barely does anything. Plays the game, sends it all just going to get it edited, boom, that's it. It's done. So, food for thought, black hippie girl. For those of you who are still watching the video, I'd like you for sticking around.
That point would have made more sense if Corey Kenshin actually did have editors. But even still, it wouldn't have, completely just changed my mind about what I think of your points. So, yeah.
And I hope you enjoyed this little look through the comments. There were hundreds of them, and I could have kept reading through them. I got called fat, I got called a race traitor, I got called all sorts of stuff under the sun. If you really want to go through, I left some replies that I didn't talk about in the other videos. So go check that video out if you haven't.
All right, that's pretty much it. So, yeah, like I said before at the beginning, don't just send hate to this guy. Like, at the end of the day, he's giving his opinion. Don't, just, if you're going to actually critique him and everything, honestly, like I'm doing, don't just bring up random nonchalant things like calling him fat and stuff. Because, one, it makes you look immature, and two, it just doesn't have anything to do with, like, what you were getting mad about in the first place. Unless you just actually hate fat people and you're complaining about him being fat. Like that would just be a whole nother thing. But, yeah, shout out to this guy. You can subscribe to him if you want. I'll leave his name in the description and title, whatever. Like I don't think he's a bad person or anything. I don't even know him. I just don't agree with the stuff he was saying. But yeah. And shout out to Corey Kenshin for, being who he is. And shout out to Abba and Preach for, I mentioned them before, and Markiplier, and yeah. All right. Bye-bye.